I never planned to tell the world I was being kept from my children, but I did. And it changed someone's life in a way I never saw coming. My name is Sabrina, mother, advocate, someone who refused to stay silent. This is Still Standing, Still Speaking. My first guest found me scrolling through her pain. She saw my video, she shared it, and her daughter, who had not spoken to her for 12 months, saw that share and came back. A stranger's courage reunited a mother and her child. That stranger is sitting next to me today. Hannah Morley, welcome to the reason this podcast exists.
For having me.
Thank you so much.
Exciting.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to have you, and especially being my first guest.
No, I feel privileged actually.
Anyway, let's dive right into it.
Let's do it.
You were living your own nightmare when you saw my video. So what made you share someone else's pain when you were drowning in your own?
I think because it resonated so much with me, and being a female and, we carry the burden of not having our children. People think that, you've done something majorly wrong if you don't have your kids, but that's not the case. And just awareness that you're not alone, and sharing your story really touched me, to the point I think I voice messaged you, and I was actually crying that morning when I'd watched it. So
well, it was amazing. Like
yeah.
I was so humbled that, my pain served a purpose. So,
yeah. And I didn't actually expect what came out of it after
I'm already crying.
So once you start sharing things, you actually don't realize how many people are hurting and how many people are actually, burdened with the same fact.
Of course.
Even going through the court system and not getting the justice, and, you might have those court papers, but they don't mean anything in the end of it. And people don't realize that until you actually have your children taken from you.
Absolutely. And like you said, because you're the mother as well, it's like, it's not acceptable. The children are supposed to stay with you because you're the mother.
Yeah.
So I understand that.
Comes down to just, I think, I feel like it's who's filed first and who has the money to fight, or, the threats, and they're the ones that win in the end. Unfortunately, you think that you've got these orders and police can help you and protect you. Once your child's taken, they don't have any jurisdiction in that. You have to go back to court and pay more money. So it's really sad.
So it's the system, really.
The system's failed so many times, either being female or male. But yeah, like there's so many females out there that people don't actually talk. You're starting to hear a lot more about the men and things like that, but not with the females either, because they look and they think, well, if you don't have your child,
what's wrong with you? What did you do?
Yeah, what did you do?
Yeah, the judgment.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think for me, that was what held me back for so many years. I mean, my personal story is that, I've been dealing with it for 10 years. And I always thought that if I kept quiet and kept the peace and not spoke up, I thought I'd be protecting myself, I'd be protecting my children. But in the end, Hannah, the silence was never protecting me. It was just keeping me more alone.
Yeah, 100%. For so long, even when you haven't done anything wrong, my circumstances, my ex decided to run off with my best friend. Good, I'm happy. It was the best thing that could have happened to me. You try and keep the peace, but as soon as you find your happiness, it's amazing how it can flip,
isn't it?
And you just go, wow, I finally met the most amazing man, and my family's all together. And as soon as you're happy, you get served with court papers, 9 years later? Which is just, it's wild.
It is wild. It baffles me because it's all about just punishing you.
Yeah.
It's not even about the child. It's just about getting back at you. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You had no idea your daughter would see it. So what were you actually trying to do when you hit share?
I was just trying to make people aware, and obviously being in my industry as well, like it's predominantly women.
Yeah.
So you hear about it so often, and half of them don't know my story because I don't publicize it. And I shared it, and I honestly did not expect number one, her to reach out because of, you know, the content of her realizing that I don't hate her and that's not the truth. But even just other people reaching out, it was insane, the amount of inboxes I got, and, you know, even the loving and caring nature of people instead of the backlash. You think
Absolutely.
social media, you think, oh, I'm going to cop it from the wrong angle, but you actually cop it from a really nice, caring, you know, motherly side, really.
It's amazing. It's the power of social media. And that's, you know, yeah, I was totally blown away too, Hannah, because like I said, we were talking before we went on air. Yeah. For years, you keep this silent because you also sit in the shame as well and the guilt of it.
And you feel a little bit embarrassed, and especially
of course.
being a confident, you know, people look at you, they think you've got your shit together. No one thinks, oh, you know, she's crying in the bottom of the shower at night, and you know, people go, oh, how's your daughter? And you're like, yeah, she's great, or yeah, she's doing really well, but you don't tell them because it's such a long story to explain why, and you don't want to badmouth the other parent. You don't want to be the, you know, the evil person either. You just want to get on with your life, and it's so hard because you just want to be able to co-parent. And it's, if so many more people could do it, and I honestly think that child support has a lot to do with it. I reckon if there wasn't child support involved, or if you weren't seeing your child, you don't pay it, I think
100%.
that would be a massive thing, because that has come a massive part into my story.
Yeah.
As soon as he'd taken her, I was like straight away child support were on the phone and trying to backdate it from when I even had her. I'm like, this is wild. But not only that, with the child support thing, it blew me away when he had a debt that he hadn't paid. And I said, well, just use his until that runs out, and then I'm happy to pay. I'm happy to pay for my daughter.
Of course.
And they go, oh, no, you have to pay, and then he pays you. And I'm like, it's just such a screwed up system once again. It just fails them.
Absolutely. But what about in the sense, like, I think we were talking about this, child support, like, okay, for instance, my situation, he's taken my kids without my consent.
Yeah.
I'm paying my child support, but then I get a bill for dental work or school uniforms. Make it make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I even sent the child support literally the doc, like the orders, right?
Yeah.
And it was him every second weekend. I said, until they go back to court and there's final orders in place again, I said, this is where it stands. He isn't meant to have her. Well, he shows us otherwise that he has her, so you need to change the child support arrangements. I said, but make sense.
Exactly. So do you have court orders to say that Willow lives with you?
I had court orders, to say that Willow lived with me. Once he took her on Mother's Day. So once again, you know, just another Mother's Day. Who takes a child on Mother's Day? And withholds them. This was 12 months ago. I had orders where she would spend every second weekend with him and during the week with me. And then he filed to take me back to court. And that's like a whole nother story.
So you had to go back to court?
Yep. So I got filed. I got served, I think, within the 3 months period of going back to court again for new orders to be made. I was served, and after I was served, then I had death threats that followed. So not only was I meant to be going for a court date, but then I had these so-called bikie associated people saying that if you go back to fight for your daughter, we're going to slit your throat. Yeah. So it was quite nerve-wracking, not only just the threats, but where I was. They knew what time I was at work, what my salon looked like. And that's when I was like, this is quite serious. So I contacted the local police, and their words were, we can't do anything because it's not directly coming from him. So it fails you again.
Again, the system fails you again.
Yeah.
And I just, it baffles me. It is a disgrace.
And I think, you know, people go, well, you've got to fight for your daughter. She's not in any danger. Yeah. Look, her dad's a great dad. I can't say that he's not.
Yeah.
Just a crap husband.
Yeah.
So, you know, you know, the kids, like, she's found out the truth now, and they always do find out the truth, and they do come back. It's just the time that hurts. And unfortunately, it takes away their childhood. They don't get to be children.
Absolutely.
You know, they're scarred.
And that's what I worry about too. Like, what is the long-term effect for these kids that, you know,
what are their relationships going to be like when they're older?
And then what's my relationship going to be with my children as they get older, you know?
I think when they do see it, I hope, and I do genuinely hope, because I've never been one to badmouth the other side. And that's something she did say to me once we'll get onto that, but once we had communication was, you know what I'm realizing? You've never said anything bad, or when, we'd do pickups, you change the subject. You wouldn't want to know what they were doing on the weekend. You didn't care. It was just how I was and how I'm feeling.
Because we actually don't care what they're doing, right?
This is 11 years ago, babe. I'm like,
yeah, like moved next.
Next. I'm worrying about what I'm buying on the shopping list for the food, or, what's on the dinner table, not what they're doing. No one cares.
That's right. Yeah, but they seem to be so caught up in what you're doing.
Unfortunately, not everyone's happy.
Tell me the moment your daughter made contact. Don't skip a thing. You're already crying.
I'm already tearing up.
I'm going to make me cry. Tissue's there.
Yeah, let's just say, well, it wasn't like a Hollywood movie where it's all, rainbows and butterflies. It was a number that called me. Me and my husband were actually driving in the car. I remember it clear as day. And I was like, oh, do I answer it? It was my day off. I'm like, nah, I'm not answering it. And it was just in the afternoon. And then, I don't know, he said to me, he was like, answer the phone. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll answer it. And I was like, hello, Hannah speaking. And she was like, Mum. And I was like, oh, my gut just sunk. And I just remember the tears coming down my face. And I looked at my husband, and we both just looked like we'd seen a ghost. And she was like, you don't hate me. And I was like, what, Willow? Why would I hate you? She goes, Dad said that you're not fighting for me and you don't care. And I was like, that's never the case. And that that's not what it's about. But what really got me was straight away she starts to apologize.
That enrages me.
A 12-year-old
apologizing.
Yeah. And she goes, Mum, I didn't realize, I thought.
Hannah, grab me a tissue.
Sorry. No, that's all right. Yeah, and I just said, for a 12-year-old to have to apologize is wild. But
disgraceful.
She said, oh, I was offered a puppy and an electric bike. And I said, that's okay, darling. I said, it's fine. But now for saying that I'd hurt you or you're in danger, it doesn't go down well. And she goes, yeah, I know. Now I have to live with my actions. And I said, no one has to live with their actions, darling. I said, the truth always comes out. And I said, you've just got to be honest with Dad and tell him that you've reached out, you've spoken to me. So yeah, I have had contact with her past that.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're still speaking to her?
Yeah, she's a sassy young girl. She's definitely my daughter. So I've never been worried about that. So she always, whenever she finds a phone, she'll get in contact with me. So it's quite nice.
So she's actually having to find a phone.
Weekly. Yeah. So
he won't let her.
No. So he apparently gave her the phone and said, here, call your mother. But it didn't connect. So she thought that I'd blocked a number. So yeah, it's they find out the truth.
Oh, that is horrible. Thank you so much for sharing that.
That's okay.
Seriously, I'm crying.
I'm just lucky I have a strong, independent daughter.
Good on her though, you know, and that's what is so wonderful about social media. Like I said to you, like we touched on before.
She says she stalks my social media like no tomorrow. And I'm like, how? It's on private. She's like, when there's a will, there's a way.
That's
She's
amazing.
like, by the way, I'm so missing all the seafood because we used to like fish it all the time and dive together. And she's like, I miss that kind of food so much. And then she goes, oh, by the way, you're having a baby? Dad said you weren't. And I was like, well, you can't lie about that one. I said, it's pretty obvious. So yeah. Now, and then that's where it started. She's like, well, he said I don't get to see you until I'm 18. I said, well, unfortunately, if that's the case, you're not going to be able to see your brother until he's 5. And that's just heartbreaking.
That is absolutely heartbreaking.
For another sibling to not have that, it's just horrible.
But the narrative from your ex-partner saying things like that to a 12-year-old.
And I think too, when they had their first little one, I was the first one to take my daughter down to buy a gift for her brother.
Yeah.
Not from me, not for any other reason, but that's what you do as a parent. You put your feelings aside, you put your emotions
100%.
aside for that child. I just wish that everyone could do the same.
Yeah, because they just can't. They can't separate the like I said, it's punishment. It's about getting back at you, and
it makes no sense when they're the ones that left. Why do you have to have anger?
I'll never understand it. I'll never understand it because I'm in the same position.
Yeah, you just think, why? But anyway, the truth always comes out, and unfortunately, I hope it doesn't damage their relationship in the long run.
Yeah, well, ultimately, when, like you said, the truth comes out, and one day, you know, she might change her thoughts on her dad as she gets older.
Yeah, and it's sad because she could have had two beautiful, loving families.
That's right. Like, why can't we just co-parent?
It takes a village to raise kids.
That's exactly right. So where did the village go?
Yep. And I remember for so many years we co-parented fine. Like my husband used to communicate so well with my ex-husband, better than I would.
Yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden we got married and everything flipped. And I'm like, where did it come from? Like, where did the anger when you could, you know, you can share that time together? I used to say to my clients when we co-parented so well, it's actually great having a kid with someone you don't love, because then you get a break, but then you can be a good parent at the same time, you know. And I honestly don't even understand where it's gone and how it's got to this point.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
it's a terrible, terrible thing. I don't wish it on anyone. And these perpetrators need to be held accountable because, you know, it's wrong.
Oh, even that, but they say, like, in the court proceedings, they say, oh, well, if you've withheld a child, then, you know, you're under, there's a word for it, you're on notice. You put on notice, you know. So next time, this is what's going to happen. It's all just open-ended threats. There's nothing that's going to ever happen from it.
That's right.
It's literally just who wants to pay the most money to a lawyer,
of course,
who wants to, you know, go to court back and forth, and the mental strain. But not only that, even the independent children's report writers, they pick a side before they've even started. And look, I like my tattoos. That's my style. But when you walk into a courtroom and you're all tatted up and then you've got your ex standing there in a suit, which he just looks
immaculate,
like a schoolboy.
Yeah.
There's, you know, they're going to pick the person and they're going to go, oh, well, she looks a bit rough, you know. Not the, you know, the aspect of you've had a business for so many years, you've been successful.
Absolutely.
They just paint a picture and they pick a side. It's not about, they don't even read it. They don't read the, you know, the mud throwing and everything like that. And even that is just
all
disgusting.
the receipts.
Oh, all the receipts, none of that. Like my daughter used to have, we were on 43 acres. She had a pony, she horse rode, you know, her motorbikes. We used to co-parent. Her dad would come down to watch her. And I would let him and my ex-best friend who he ran off with and their son come down to my farm and never had a problem. Like,
so what do you think changed? Just
jealousy. I honestly think my daughter had such a really beautiful relationship with my husband.
Yeah.
He took her on like his own. God bless him. And I think he just got jealous because he's so hands-on. He taught her how to ride a bike, taught her how to spearfish. He taught her everything. And I think that plays a big part when a lot of men aren't confident in who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about the stepdads that take on our beautiful children. Like, because I'm in the same position.
They're the ones that hurt, you know.
Yeah.
They let them in and then they just get hurt time and time again because even with their children, when they're having a bad day or they feel like they've, you know, they still want to take their dad's side. So if their dad says to them, oh, well, you know, he could have done this or he could have done that.
Yeah.
They want to please their dad. You know, so it's easier just to lie about something than it is to actually say, hey, hold on a minute, Dad.
Yeah.
He's actually an amazing person.
Yeah.
And he does X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
It's just easier to just paint them as a perpetrator.
Of course. So I totally get that. I mean, my children won't even speak to their stepdad now.
Yeah.
But for the last 8 years.
Who do they run to when there's an issue?
Exactly right.
Who do they tell?
Who was there when the inconsistent child support wasn't coming through, or
who's at the awards? Who's the one picking them up from school because they can't pick them up? They haven't got time. They're too busy at work. But yet he would drive her in to see her dad because I miss my dad. Cool, doll. Let's get in the car after school. I'll drive you for an hour, and he wait in the car while he, you know, she would go in and see her dad, and they would badmouth him, and then she'd get back in the car and feel horrible. And it's like, it's okay. You don't need to feel horrible. And it's so sad that they actually cop it a lot more.
The children?
Of course. Then we realise.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What does 12 months of silence from your own child feel like? Because I don't think people who haven't lived it have any idea.
Yeah. It's a lot of compounding and boxing it all away.
Yeah.
I can say it feels like losing a child, but I've already lost a child. So I'd actually lost my first daughter, which is Lilly, who I fell pregnant and had a stillborn at 38 weeks.
I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, and I don't know. And then Willow come along. She was the same due date 12 months later, my little rainbow baby. And I tell you what, she's full on. But people say it's like, you know, having a death of a child, but it's actually so much harder.
It's a grief with no funeral.
Yeah. It really is, you know. I feel like I always have Lily with me everywhere I go. But Willow, when you're seeing social media or you see them in the street on other people's, you know, Instagram, it's really hard. It's hard to be like, you want to be there. You want to be that parent. You don't want to be the absent one. But when you're made and you're excluded from that, when that's so not who you are or what you are, it's really, really hard. And then you put on the brave face because, you know, when you're the face of a business or whatever, you don't like to be the, you know, I'm quite a strong person and I don't tend to break down or get upset over things, and I just pretend that I can soldier on. But it takes a part of your soul.
Of course, it does.
And a big part of you, and especially my maternal side of things. It makes me quite a hard ass.
Because at the end of the day, they're a part of you.
Oh, yeah.
We carried them.
Yeah, we carried them. Spewed it every single day.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to leave that one out. I was sick as a dog with her. And, you know, you go through all of this, and then for someone to just think that they have more right to them. Like, I never for once said that or did that to my ex. Even when we separated, it was 50-50. You know, it's part his. She's not mine. She's not his. So why in any world do they think that they can just take?
It's beyond me. It's beyond me. Sorry, this is really hitting me. Yeah, look, what upsets me more is that, for instance, in my case, my children just won't even speak to me. Like, they just won't.
How long has it been?
It's been since January. Yesterday was my daughter's 13th birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, yesterday was really
our girls are in the same year. Wow, that's scary.
And, you know, I actually made the decision not to call or not to message because I just couldn't handle the rejection again.
It's protecting yourself because you can get into such a dark spot.
Yeah. And then my parents came over last night and they were like, well, we called and they didn't even answer them.
Yeah. And I think rejection, it's a lot harder than actually, you know, we put it to the side.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how often people actually go, oh, how's your daughter? Or, oh, I haven't seen, you know, they used to love watching our farm posts and, you know, on my TikTok, on my Instagram.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, like, she used to literally put a cat in her backpack and ride a pony around with this cat in the back. Or she had a lizard. Or you'd walk in the bathroom, she'd have baby chickens in the morning in a bath, bathing these chickens. Like, she had the most amazing life down there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just was silence.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part. Like, just it goes from absolute chaos to what am I going to wake up to in the kitchen, or what's she going to be doing, to silence, just dead silence.
And then you have to sit in it and live it.
And what do you do with their rooms?
Yeah.
You know, like their little rooms that are set up and all of their stuff.
And you can still smell them.
Yeah. Or you'd be driving along and all of a sudden a song that you would blast and you'd both sing at the top of your lungs just makes you just feel ill.
It's just not fair. It's not fair. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
And they say time heals. Time doesn't heal.
Bullshit.
Time just makes you.
Sorry. And you
time
know,
just makes you so much tougher.
that, but then, like, you know what else I can't handle? When people say, you just need to get on with it. Well, how the hell do you get on with it? Can you please tell me how you forget about your own kids? Like,
you don't ever forget.
Yeah.
I call it build an empire.
Yeah.
So that eventually they will see what you did keep busy.
Yeah.
So people always say to me, I'm an absolute nut job. I sell one house and I'm on to the next. I'm ripping out kitchens. I'm coming up with new products. I'm starting new companies constantly. And people go, you are an absolute psychopath or a weapon. I don't know which one it is.
Both.
That's my coping.
You're a warrior.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
That's how I cope.
Yeah.
So that, you know, when she does come back and she does say, Mum, what did you do all these years when you weren't in my life? Oh, well, this is what I did just to stay busy.
Yeah.
I didn't sit in a room. I didn't drink a whole heap of alcohol and write myself off. Yeah. I made myself a better person. So when you do come back into my life, that I'm the best I can be.
I think that's amazing. And that's a credit to you. So I'm so proud of you. I think
that's the best advice I can give.
Yeah. Yeah. A stranger's video reunited you with your daughter. What does that tell you about the power of one person deciding to speak up?
I knew the power of social media from obviously a young age, that it can either destroy you or make you. Yeah. But I think as well, the generations are changing. I think everyone's getting together and everyone's banding to actually support people in this well, I wouldn't say industry, but in this common denominator, I think that everyone's starting to, you know, come together, and I'm hoping that there'll be change, because the more we can share, the more I believe people will start to, I hope that exes see it and they actually go, wow, okay, there's a different perspective and how much it actually hurts.
Yeah.
We don't show that it hurts us because we don't want to give them that ammo. But the truth is it does. It bloody hurts.
Of course.
You win. Cool. Okay. Who cares? You hurt me. Good job. But what about the kids?
That's right.
And this is where everyone's just forgetting, you know, especially like you read all these reports and you read it's all about money. It needs to stop.
Absolutely.
And something needs to change. And if it means, you know, having podcasts, and if we can change one person out of every single million, then why not?
And everyone deserves to feel seen, and everyone deserves to feel heard.
100%. And don't be ashamed. Like
absolutely.
Don't feel the shame of it. Feel the pain, go through it, you know, and hopefully people can start to make amends and have, you know, a community of a family instead of actually a war. Because it shouldn't 100%, be a war.
100%.
Wars are tiring.
Absolutely. They're exhausting.
They're so 2000. Like, everyone just needs to just be a little bit nicer and kinder. Life's hard enough as it is these days.
Oh, my goodness. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Hannah.
No, thank you for having me.
You know, it was so nice to meet you, and I was so truly humbled. I just felt that it was fitting that you be my first guest, because
thank you.
Hannah was so beautiful. She reached out to me and said that, you know, after she shared one of my videos, that her daughter saw it after 12 months, and that just blew my mind. And your story is the reason why I started this, because it gave me hope.
And it should, honestly, and they will come back. It might be, you know, a year, might be 2 years, but they, you know, you're still their mum. And kids don't ever forget that.
That's right.
They never do.
Yeah.
Time does heal, but it sucks in the meantime. So you'll probably just go around fixing everyone else's band-aids.
I know, right? Well, you know, I actually feel like this is helping me, you know, just talking about it, because
speaking out does help.
I'm in therapy once a week, you know, I'm not going to lie.
So am I, and I love my therapist.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Louise. I've been in there for 4 years, and I think when they turn around and say, oh, you don't need to come anymore, don't tell me that.
I'm
so coming. You're part of my life now. And even that, people, don't be afraid to speak out and don't be afraid to get help.
That's right.
Know, so many people used to be like, oh, you're in therapy. I love it. I think it's the best
absolutely.
thing ever. Even for the lamest little things that you could be going through, it can help you in so much of your life.
Yeah, it's an outlet, and it's a space with no judgment.
And makes you a better person.
Of course it does.
Definitely.
Of course it does. And anyway, I wish you all the very best, Hannah. And congratulations. You've got Bub on the way.
Yes.
And
a little what would I say? Dream baby.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I just hope continued contact with your beautiful daughter, and you can just really rebuild that beautiful relationship. And it's giving me hope that I hope I get to have that at some point too.
You will, definitely.
Every person you'll meet on this podcast has been through something that was meant to break them. And every single one of them is still here. Hannah, look into that camera. Tell them why you are still standing.
I'm still standing because I still have a beautiful girl out there who I'll never give up on.
So beautiful. Oh, come here. That's why we're here. That's why we don't stay silent. If this episode found you, it found you for a reason. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. I'm Sabrina, and we are
Still standing, still speaking. Thanks for having me, doll.
Still standing, still speaking, still